Does the president have any intention of pardoning him?
We've been asked that question multiple times. Our answer stands, which is no.
Perhaps the president was counting on Kamala Harris winning the White House and pardoning Hunter herself. Perhaps his calculus changed when he sized up Donald Trump's teeth-gnashing nominees for Attorney General and FBI Director. Or maybe he was just a father who had spent Thanksgiving with his family and decided to forgive a prodigal son using the awesome powers of his office, no matter what the cost to his reputation or his party. Would it be understandable? Sure. Is it what Biden himself told us to expect of the nation's chief executive? Absolutely not. In any event, Biden's decision has paved the way for President-elect Trump to wield the pardon power with equal shamelessness when it's his turn. And it has cemented Hunter Biden's place as the first son who impacted his father's administration more profoundly than any other presidential child in the history of the republic, and not in a good way. Joining us now is NewsNation correspondent Joe Khalil with the very latest from Capitol Hill. Joe, lots of reaction pouring in from both sides of the aisle to this pardon.
Yeah, and we're seeing a lot of that frustration centered around the fact, not so much that President Biden made this pardon, but that he so insistently said he was not going to do it and then went back on his word. Republicans are generally reacting as you would expect, but what's more surprising, Elizabeth, perhaps, is the way that Democrats are reacting. Virtually no elected Democrat has, in a full-throated way, come out in defense of President Biden. What we're seeing is a lot of those who are either silent about the issue or those who are criticizing, many condemning this, saying it was the wrong thing to do, others saying that he undermined the rule of law by doing this, and others still saying that he put his family over the interests of the country. Take a look at just two examples here of many. One is Senator Gary Peters, who said today that President Biden's decision was the wrong one. He says the president's family and allies shouldn't get special treatment. This was improper use of power and erodes the trust in government, emboldens others to bend justice. And take a look at Governor Jared Polis's statement, who says that while as a father, I certainly understand Joe Biden's desire to help his son, I'm disappointed he put family ahead of country. It's a bad precedent that could be abused later by presidents and will sadly tarnish his reputation. Elizabeth, interestingly, I've heard two schools of thoughts from Democrats. Some who say that this move has sort of ceded the moral high ground for if and when Donald Trump decides to make pardons to people like the January 6th rioters, or that the fact that he's already pardoned several of his own close allies and even his daughter's father-in-law, Jared Kushner's dad. On the other hand, I've heard other Democrats make sort of the exact opposite argument, that the party standing up to their own president now secures the moral high ground, that they keep it because they're calling out hypocrisy, whether it's on the other side or their own. What we know is this conversation is certainly not done today. And in fact, we may see Republicans try to bring Hunter Biden in for questioning under a subpoena in the next Congress.
Right. Hunter Biden can no longer plead the fifth because he's got a pardon. Joe Khalil, thank you so much. Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.